Hey fish fans! Welcome to Raina Reviews. Today we are gonna finally be talking about the Fantasy 3. I keep accidentally wanting to say the Final Fantasy 3. I'm just gonna call this entire line of tales the Final Fantasy tales. Do you like the Final Fantasy games? Which ones are your favorite? I love 10 too, even though so many people hated it. I loved it. Alright, so we're finally going to review Final Fantasy 3 Fin by Mertailor. Everyone's been asking me to, and what happened was I got my tail and then I injured my feet. Nothing to do with the tail, it's something separate. And I'm still not entirely back to normal, and I wanted to wait until I had enough footage that we could actually do something. And I really wanted to make sure I had enough experience swimming in it so that I could actually tell you what I think. The first time I swam in it was just so brief because I had hurt my feet. It just wasn't enough for me. So before we get into that, I'm gonna ask you to please like and subscribe. Click the bell if you want to get a notification in your email. That is a really good thing to do if you're not somebody who logs on to YouTube very often. If you log on to YouTube like every day, you don't really need to do it because you will see a notification in your subscriber column. But if you don't and you want to get notified when I upload new videos, because I try to do at least 2 a week, we're a little slow right now because we have like 11 in the pipe that we're working on. It's so crazy. But that's how the bell works. So I'm just like disclaiming that so you don't get mad at me if you get an email, okay? I also really love getting comments. We don't get comments on everything because of the way YouTube automatically disables comments on some things. So yeah, tell me what you think about stuff like this. Are you interested in getting a Fantasy 3 Fin? Do you have a Fantasy 1, 2, or 3? What do you think of them? How do you feel they compare to other monofins and other tails? I also would like to give a shout out to my fan and friend, Joseph McGarry. He sent Sean and I a few gifts for our anniversary. Love my bag. Love it. Using it for everything. Thank you so much, my friend. Joseph is helping head up a cruise. There is a Facebook group that he's got going on. Maybe Joseph can leave a comment and people can find the link. But if you want to find out about the mermaid cruises, he does have a Facebook group that you can check out. Maybe go on a cruise with some mermaids, learn some stuff, have some fun. It's good times. So this is kind of my thing now. I'm collecting sunglasses. I got these in California. I never used to like sunglasses because I have crooked ears. So they actually, if I put them where my ears are, they're crooked. And when I was growing up as a kid, people always teased me from that. But I started getting like cool sunglasses. Like I have a pair of heart ones that I love. I have mermaid ones that I love. I've got kaleidoscope ones. And now this is my thing, just like collecting weird sunglasses. So I love these. They look like film lenses. They're so cool, but I can't see. So I'll put them up. I just wanted to do something for fun. I love them. We have a lot of videos coming down for you. We have so many from our California trip. It's just taking us a while to do it. Sean and I also have day jobs and it's our busy season. So there's so much coming. I wanted to prioritize this because everyone's been asking me about it. If you haven't seen it yet, you can check out my unboxing video for the Mertailor Fantasy 3 Fin and Fabric Tail, the Deep Sea Betta, on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link at the end of this video. It'll be like one of those videos that pops up as like a related video that you can check out. You can get my first impressions. So, got the tail here. It is heavy. I took it with me to California and I could just barely put this and the Fantasy 2 in my luggage, barely. Just the fins, no skins. And I hit the 50-pound limit. We tried to bring them back home and one of my skins was wet and it made us literally go over the limit and we had to cram a wet mermaid tail skin into a backpack so that we could get it home to Canada. So it is huge, as you can see. And if you remember from one of my old videos, I like big flukes and I cannot lie. But big flukes can pose a challenge. So a lot of people are asking me, what is the propulsion like on this? Or is it so floppy and so big that it's causing drag and it's hard to kick in? I have to tell you, this blew my mind with how much propulsion it had. I have big flukes like this. My she creature is a big fluke. And the Fantasy 2, it has push, but not like significant push, but it's on par with a Finis Rapid or a Wave. So it's like on par with that, and I would say that the Fantasy 1 is on par with a foil. This thing is kind of close to a competitor monofin. It's not quite as strong, and obviously it's not as stiff as a competitor monofin, but as soon as I started kicking in it, I put it on in California to swim in the first time because I got it right before our trip. I was shocked by how fast I went. And also, considering the fact that the skin has all these extra bits, I've shown this in other videos and you've probably seen it in my pictures by now. but it has all of these side fins, so I thought that there might be some drag. None of my fabric tails that have side fins from Mertailor, none of them have drag. I'm really surprised. I don't know what kind of voodoo magic he is doing that they don't have drag, but they don't. And I think that is because of whatever the scuba knit fabric is and how he sews it. The water and the air can actually move through it really quickly. So you just there's no drag at all. So this thing was stupid fast. I was not expecting it. I was not prepared for it. And for someone like me, who, even though I've been doing this for 11 years and I am a really good swimmer now, I'm above average from the average person. But in the world of mermaids, I'm probably in the middle ground. I'm definitely not a top mermaid swimmer because I have dyspraxia and I don't actually get an opportunity to do the kind of performing that would allow me to kind of hone that craft. I'm mostly doing kids parties. I'm in a little tiny tank. Maybe once a year I get in the aquarium and that's where I get to do the big stuff, or I get to do movies and filming and that's where I do the big stuff. But I'm not like some of these mermaids, like the wiki mermaids, who are really athletic and in there every day. So for me, a monofin that makes me go fast and is really strong, it feels like cheating. It's so exciting. I'm not used to feeling that way. I am used to having to put in so much effort, and I am used to having to be hyper aware of making sure that my body is in the correct position. And even after 11 years, I have to make sure I don't bend my knees. It's okay to bend your knees a little, but you don't want to be doing like an inchworm thing. We've talked about that in other videos. And the thing with this tail that really works for me, and now it may be a negative for you, for me it's a positive, is actually because it is so dense and heavy, I sink better in it. I sink better in it, and for me, my back end is what floats. So having my back end sink, I don't need a weight belt with this. I sink really well, and it's not overwhelming though. I did take it out to the ocean, and for those who don't know, there's about a 3% buoyancy difference for a person when they get in the ocean, or for most objects when they get in the ocean. So it is more buoyant. And I put this on in the ocean. I completely stopped moving. Sean took video from on top of a boat. My head still stuck out of the water, so I was neutrally buoyant. And if I let my air out, my head just started to go underwater. So that was really perfect for me. So in a pool, it was great. I started trying to do some flips and tricks, and I could tell that it was something that I could definitely do, but there was more power behind it than I was expecting, and the fluke is fairly wide, just like my Fantasy 2. So I personally had the same problem that I had with my Fantasy 2, and that instead of doing like a perfect flip where I go over, I start to do that flip and I end up going to the side, and that takes a little bit for me to correct, and I end up needing to use my arms a bit more. I can't do that nice like arms by the side with the flip. I try to correct it halfway through. So I tried it a few times and eventually I was getting it pretty well. And when I wear goggles and a mask, I can obviously practice it a lot easier than if I'm not wearing goggles and a mask, because I can see what I'm doing, but you know, I have to practice both ways. So yeah, it was wide, so I would veer to the side when I tried to do these flips. So swimming in California was really awesome. The colors were extremely vibrant. I was really shocked. They're almost a bit too loud for me. I really loved this when I saw it online, and it's kind of hard to tell exactly what things look like online and how they're gonna look like in different light and stuff. And the tail has so many colors in it, this particular deep sea Betta, that you can match lots of different tops with it. The one thing that I didn't personally like for my own aesthetic is I actually don't like this pink that's at the top, and the shape of it kind of looks like a pair of hot pink bathing suit bottoms that I have. And the way that it sits on my body, it made it look like I was wearing hot pink bottoms and they were shining through the mermaid tail, but really it's just the pattern. But I've seen other people wear this. Wen wore it and he looked amazing in it, and it fit just the way it sat on him. It sat on his body shape better, and it didn't look like bottoms on him. It looked like a blended pink waist, right? So it's really just your preference, and this is not a knock to Mertailor at all, because this tail has really grown on me. It's like my purple tail, you know, my Fantasy 2 purple. I had been expecting to get the green one. I got a purple. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like purple, and now I'm obsessed with it, right? I love it. I use it for everything. It's definitely grown on me. We took it out into the ocean. It kept me warm. They quick dry. I feel like Mertailor doesn't advertise the fact that they quick dry enough, because it's super cool when you're using them for professional stuff. And if you have to like transition from out of water water onto land, it's really nice that they just do that moisture wicking and they just dry so quickly. So I had it in the ocean with Mermaid Mimi, and we're gonna do a separate video where we really focus in on the comparison for the 3 fins. But just as an example, for me personally, in my swimming use, I found the 3 easier to swim in both freshwater and saltwater because I sank more, I had a stronger kick, and that helps compensate for me, right? Like, I'm not the strongest, so that's a bit of a cheat for me. However, when you see me next to Mimi, and Mimi's a really strong swimmer, and you see her in the Fantasy 2, it looks like there's no difference between the 2 of us. We have the same amount of push. Mimi, she could be an Olympian. She's such a good swimmer. She was a competitive swimmer her whole life. So you kind of have to consider that, okay? I would personally still say that the 3 is probably stronger than the 2. I would have liked Mimi to try it, but I have a small and Mimi's 6 foot tall, so she wasn't gonna fit in it. She fit in my purple one. She's so tall and it was a medium, so it did fit her, but she couldn't fit in this one. I would have liked to have her done both. We had so much fun in the ocean. I could do flips and kicks. I could go so far. I sunk enough that I didn't need to use a weight belt, but I also floated enough that I could still stretch out and take pictures, and Sean did that from the boat. Then I took it to a river, which is my annual thing that I do every year. It's this river that has rapids, and sometimes if we're lucky, we get like a mini little waterfall, and I took it there to get pictures. And I have to say, because it's so big, it is really cumbersome and tricky to model in on land. And if you were gonna do it on land, I think you have to approach it like a silicone tail, because it is big, wide, and heavy like a silicone tail. So yeah, you can do all the same kind of modeling that you would do in a silicone tail, but you have to have that mindset that this is not gonna be as easy to move around as the Fantasy 2 or the Fantasy 1. I really had a hard time getting the monofin into place when I was doing photos because it was just so big. I'm in the river, I start falling, I'm trying to do it, I have to get Sean to help me. So that was a bit of a challenge. And I feel like if you are someone who is more petite, I think the Fantasy 1 or the Fantasy 2 might be better proportioned to you. And I mean, if you like big flukes and you can handle them, all the power to you. But I'm 5'8" and 150 pounds, and I did struggle with it at some points. That's not saying it's a bad thing, it's just something that you need to plan for so that you can be safe and that you can get the photos that you want. So if you're gonna use it for on-land modeling or dry gigs, I would absolutely have a wrangler there to help you. And instead of you trying to lift your feet up and lug this thing around, get them to just pick the fin up and move it for you. It's gonna be a lot faster, safer, and easier. As with all of his fabric tails, super easy on and off. I could get it off and on in the water, which was amazing. I took it off hands-free in California. Every time I get a new Mertailor monofin, that's the first thing I try to do. It's like my little challenge. Can I get it off and on hands-free? And I used this Fantasy 3 to actually teach somebody to do mermaid stuff for the first time. My friend Angela, some of you know her as Fancy Fairy Wings. She's extremely famous in the fairy community, does beautiful, stunning wings. Well, we put her in this tail. I gave her a little mini lesson, a little explanation. I stayed with her to make sure she was safe. And she just took off like a fish. She was so good at it. It was so good. That's why I love them, because they're really empowering to people who are brand new to this. It's really, really awesome. Yeah, Angela was just amazing. I was really, really proud of her. She did really well. And swimming it in the ocean, like I said, was amazing. The river, we had a lot of fun. It was really vibrant in the river. I was a little concerned because the fresh water was moving so fast and it was really dark. So the fin would kind of get sucked under a bit. And where this is a bit of a darker color, you see how on the sides it goes darker, it did kind of fade in a little bit, especially on the back, you can see. One problem I did have, now a few people have told me this has happened to them, and this was the first time it happened to me, and I have been using these tails for a year now. I've had all of my 1 and 2 and now my 3 for a year. I have put them through hell. I have done everything with them. I've had them in all kinds of water. I've had them on grass. I've had them on land. I've had them on the beach. The water in this was just moving so fast. It was moving mud really badly. I did get mud all down the back of the tail, and I couldn't wash it off in the river. Like, as soon as we saw it, we knew we were gonna have to come home and scrub it with some soap. It looked like it was a butt crack brown. It was not good. So that being said, I have scrubbed it and washed it, and I do now have a little bit of a stain. I don't even think you can see it. It's very, I mean, you have to be really up close to see it, and I don't think a client would ever notice it, but I did stain the material a little bit, and that's just a good reminder that they're not invincible. It's not a defect of the product. It is scuba knit. It's very similar to swimsuit material. So you have to take care of it. You have to be aware of where you're using it. It's not indestructible. I've never had them rip yet. I've never had a hole happen or anything like that yet, but it could always happen, right? You need to take care of your gear. And I am putting these things through hell. I'm really, really mega hard testing them for you. As with the other tails, I would say that you should size down. This is a small, and like I said, I'm 150 pounds and I'm 5'8". I'm usually a medium or a large, and it is a small. So that's pretty exciting for me. That being said, the original Fantasy ones and the guppy tails that have no extra fins or anything on the sides, they're pretty true to size. I have those in medium, and they're pretty good. And there's still enough stretch, and it's still tight enough that if I lose weight or gain weight, I'm gonna be okay. But definitely size down for these. The small was perfect for me. Mermaid Mimi, who would normally be a large or extra large because she's 6 feet tall, she fit in my medium Fantasy 2 perfectly, right? She was awesome with it. So just a few comparison things. I know people are always considering the size, so I'm gonna stand up and show you the size. We have the Fantasy 1 here. I love it. It's great. Like I said, it's on par with probably like a nice foil. As you can see, this one is way bigger than it. Sean's got the Fantasy 2 here. We want to line them right up so we can see. So it's just slightly bigger than it, but it is bigger. Can you see all the purple there? That's the difference. You got a good, I would say like 6-inch difference, maybe close to that in the middle there.
Between the heel and then this here, so that's probably about 3.5.
And then, but at these bigger parts.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And the 2 has different water channels in it right here. These are really big, thick, ribbed water channels. I don't know what else to call it or how else to describe it. The 3 doesn't have them. They're more flat like the 1. So overall, out of the 3 tails, for convenience for modeling, the 1 is my favorite because it's so little. You can just squeeze it into probably a carry-on bag, to be quite frank. It's not going to take up a lot in your luggage, and you can pack a lot of skins. It's very easy in and out. That monofin's easier to get in. So for modeling, I feel like the 1 is the best. For being able to have a combination of both modeling and swimming with the compactability of the tail, I would say the 2 is best, and the 3 is absolutely the best for swimming. Out of all 3, what is my favorite? I still really love the 2. The 2 is my absolute favorite. I can't help it. I love big flukes. I love the novelty, but there's just something about the 2. It's my thing. It's my thing. You may not know, but I have a silicone mermaid tail coming from Mertailor really soon, and I asked him if he would give me the 2 as a fluke instead of his other options because it's just so dang comfortable. I love it so much. I can lift it up and flip it. I couldn't quite do that with the 3, and the way the 3 folds in on itself, I really like the way the 2 holds itself up. I'm not saying these are pros or cons or that one is better than the other. I just really love the 2, okay? But the 3 is amazing. It's really fast for swimming if you're looking for it. Definitely, it worked in the ocean, it worked in freshwater, it worked in rapids, and it worked in the pool. It was great. It was great. Just remember when you're using these big flukes to be considerate of the people who are around you. You're not slapping anybody in the face. You're looking behind you before you do those mermaid dives. It does do a very satisfying mermaid tail slap on the surface. Super satisfying. I really enjoyed that, and it's just been wonderful. I really love it. I just need to take a minute to say how thankful I am to have this affiliate partnership with Eric. The fact that I get to tell you guys all of this stuff, and then I get to give you a discount code and empower you so that you can do that too. And I get to try all these new products, and it's actually been really empowering for me because you know how I've had all these crazy health issues, and it's been a really difficult year for me. Now I've like busted up my feet. I'm using these tails in tank shows. I'm using them for big pool swims. I think I've only used my silicone tail twice this summer, and I've done 50 gigs with these fabric tails. So just thank you very much to Mertailor. You can go back and watch our video about Raina's Mertailor history. We have a long history, and it took us a really long time, pretty much my entire mermaid career, to get to the point where we are, where we're these colleagues and friends, and I'm a client of his now, and it's been a really magical journey, and it's really awesome. And he has such amazing other affiliates who are all so wonderful. Bridget is amazing, Luna's amazing, but I'm like the biggest crush on these women. They're so talented. I love it. Brandy, oh my god. I feel like I'm in this really cool Mertailor club. That's my big pitch about how much I love these tails. I'm sure at some point there'll be something I don't like, but it's mostly just preferential stuff, colors and whatever. The tails themselves are so good. If you would like my video. And if you would like a tail like this, you can get 10% off the fabric portion of it. It applies to any of his fabric products, including clothing line. He has amazing swimsuits. I am getting one at some point. I just have not had a chance to sit down and do my accurate measurements to figure out what size I need to order. I'm hoping to take some to Mexico and get some pictures with them. I'm going to Mexico in October. We'll talk about that later. Brett Stanley, we're gonna go shoot. It's gonna be amazing. If you would like a discount, Raina10, all capital letters, it will get you 10% off of your purchase. Get a couple of things. You can't be combined with other offers though, so don't forget that. Please check me out on patreon.com/RainaMermaid. For as little as $2 a month, you can get early access to all my videos, extra pictures that don't go out to the public, behind the scenes blogs and vlogs. I also have specific merchandise that goes out as a thank you, like physical merchandise. You can get my books. I have tons of program planning stuff. So if you are a professional mermaid, you can literally go, okay, I want to do a dryland kids party that's educational theme, and here Raina's already programmed it for me. I'll print that off. I have it. Ooh, I think I need to do a safety checklist with my company and make sure that everyone's safe on their gigs. Okay, I'll print that off and take it. Oh, gee, I don't know what I should pack for a gig. Oh, hey, Raina has a checklist. I'll print that off and take it. All this program planning stuff. I have a program about mermaid mythology where you can go to libraries and show these beautiful art pieces and tell the different mythologies across all the cultures. Make people feel included in this, you know? And I have tutorials on how to fix things, on how to make your own headdresses. It's great. Just go check it out. $2 a month is the lowest tier. Also, a lot of people private message me asking me for one-on-one mentorship, and that is just not something I can do for free because it is so time consuming. I have a lot of free resources out there anyway. My entire YouTube is free. My blog is free. My books are really cheap, or if you join on Patreon, you get them as part of your perks. However, if you are somebody who really wants just like an hour of my time to sit down and be like, where do I start? What do I do? Can you walk me through this? Can you review my business plan for me? Can you listen to my pitch? Can you review my ideas of a media that I'm gonna send out? Like anything like that, we do have a Patreon tier that is $100 a month. You don't just get the 1 hour of my time a month, you get a ton of other stuff as well. But what some people have been doing is just signing up for 1 month or 2 months and having their 2 sessions, their 1 or 2 sessions, getting all their merch and resources and stuff that they get, and then they drop down to the $2 level. Because I really do, like, this is what I do for a living. I train people, and it takes a ginormous amount of my time. And as much as I would love to be able to give my time away to everybody all the time for free, then there's nothing left for me. And it does make it hard to survive, right? Because I'm empowering all these other businesses, but then not doing much for myself. So if you would like some mentoring, that is something that I do. So thank you so much for checking out my video. I really appreciate you. You can join my group, Raina the Mermaid Sea Fans. I know we packed in a lot in this video. It's because they're a little sparse in how they're coming out right now. We're trying to hit that 2 a week, but we're kind of hitting 1 a week or some weeks 2. But let me just tell you, we have so much coming. It's insane. It's insane how much we have coming. It's just, we just are trying like heck to get it all done for you. So thank you so much for checking out. Big hugs, fish kisses. Thank you.